Now I thought what might make an interesting video would be the best type of footwear for a shit hits the fan scenario or general military or survival scenario. So let's have a look. And now I've only got types of boots out on here because if you were to wear trainers they'd be completely useless. Most of them have very thin soles at the bottom, so if you stood on a nail or a bit of shrapnel or something, that could easily go through the bottom and puncture your foot. And most of them provide no ankle support, meaning that it would be very easy to twist or break an ankle. So let's have a look and see exactly what we've got here and how sort of good each one is. They're not actually ranked in usefulness order. I've sort of ranked them more in size than anything. So let's see what we've got. So first we have desert boots. You can get these in a variety of materials and thickness. And desert boots only just about come up the ankles, and they're more like a casual shoe than anything. Desert boots are decently tough, and as I said, they're thinner than most boots. I wouldn't personally choose desert boots. I don't really like the way they support the ankle, but they're nice looking more for casual use. Next we have sort of work boots, sight boots. These are much better than the desert boot. They're almost the same thing, just a bit thicker. As you can see, if compared to the desert boot, that's very thin on the ankle support there. This is much more thicker and padded. And work boots essentially normally have steel toe caps, so they're tougher, they're normally waterproof. As you can probably see, the underneath of them is a fair bit thicker than the desert boot as well, so it's harder for anything to go through the bottom of the boot, and they're going to last longer. Next we have what are still my favourite boots. These are Austrian military boots. They're not steel toe caps, although the front leather is thicker and stronger than normal leather. So these are just lace-ups. They come quite far up the leg. You can either tuck trousers into them or wear them on the outside. And again, that's a nice sort of thick bit of leather around the top. They're decently waterproof. You've got nice thick soles on the bottom of them, as you can see. So they're good strong boots, and over-round very good practical boots. Moving up next we have Rigor Boots. These are sort of another type of work boot. Rigor Boots are very practical because you can get a good pair for not much money at all. These sight ones were 20 quid. These ones have sort of a fake fur lining in as well, so they keep your feet nice and warm. They've got thick bottoms again, like the other boots, steel toe caps, and they're easy to get on and off. But one disadvantage of them compared to other boots is they don't actually provide much ankle support because they don't lace up. They just sort of sit loosely on your feet. And then at the far end we have jack boots, long known as the symbol of totalitarianism, although they predate sort of the Second World War era. But a boot that comes almost up to your knee, and they sort of come all the way up. These particular ones are East German. I have a feeling they might be used more for parade use because the soles are quite thin on them. The overall leather's quite thin. I can't really imagine them lasting that well in the combat scenario. They're good looking boots, but they're not that practical. If you're going for something like a jack boot that doesn't lace up, I'd say Rigor Boots are much more practical. So looking at all these boots, what would I recommend? Well, these Austrian army type boots, and I wouldn't recommend going for Viper boots or anything like that, or Magnums. When I say military boots, I mean good old-fashioned thick leather military boots that lace up properly and don't have any gimmicks on them, because they're the ones that are actually strongest. So we'll rank these first, because these are all-round good practical boots. I've had these for years, they've still survived. Next, I'm probably going to rank these. The general work boots, steel toe caps, easy to look after, good ankle support, good foot support. Everything's good quality on them, and they don't cost an arm and a leg either. Next I'm going to rank the Rigor Boots, because they're again sort of similar to these other boots. The only problem is they don't provide as much ankle support, but they're good practical boots and quite cheap. Most of them are waterproof. Lots of them have anti-slip bottoms because they're designed for working on work sites. So they're good practical strong boots. Next I'm going to rank the jack boots because as I said, we're getting to the end of the good use of the boots now, but they will sit on your legs well, and they've obviously been used in enough conflicts that they're good quality boots, but they're more of a fashion thing than an actual, effective boot. And last I'm going to rate the desert boots. I'm sure they're better quality desert boots than this, but overall, you know, these offer the least advantages you want in a boot. They're still much better than trainers, but the bottoms are quite thin. You know, the overall leather's quite thin on them, and they don't give as much ankle support as any of the other type of boots. I say the ankle support on those is actually worse than the Rigor Boots, despite the Rigor Boots not being lace-ups. Same with the Jack boots. So that's like different categories of boots you could have for any sort of scenario, and hopefully that's been interesting to see what you've got. And as I said, trainers or sneakers, whatever you want to call them, are absolutely useless in this type of scenario because they're just too thin and offer barely any support. Oh, and they're not waterproof either.